Well, Jonny D goes on the Lila Rose podcast and talks about rebuilding a marriage that lasts. And his advice is so bad. It is so bad that I would like to challenge John. This is an open challenge. I will fly out to any city in the continental United States and I will fight him in whatever form he wants. Boxing, kickboxing, MMA. He said that he used to train MMA or whatever. I'm sure he's just one heck of an MMA fighter. Any form of fighting he wants, I challenge him. I will come to whatever city he wants and I will fight him. We'll go 3 rounds, however long he wants those rounds to go. I'll fight because his advice is so bad to the average man. To the average man, it is so bad that I would just love to beat his face in. Okay. Now, if you're liking this content, give me a like, subscribe, give me a comment below. I love those. Love comments. I love likes. Now, he's going to talk about many things on here about marriage. Most of his advice is just nonsense. And the reason why I would like to just beat his face in is because he has degrees in psychology. But he would have to know that his advice is this bad to the average man. He would have to know this. And I think his advice is so bad to the average man, and this is what makes me angry. I think it's so bad because he is trying to appeal to women who watch his show. I really think that. I really think his advice is so bad that he is gaming his audience. He knows his audience is primarily women. And so he gives really bad advice to men in order to draw in the women to his show. Here we go. Let's look. This is the first thing he said. What is this, an hour-long interview? First thing he says, we're about 10 minutes in, is he's talking about regretting your marriage. And he automatically assumes that the man's going to cheat on the wife. Here we go.
And so yeah, dude, leave your wife, blow up your entire world. Most people think they picture their life exactly as it is, just in a new circumstance. And I always want people to know, no. If you leave your wife, everything implodes, right? Everything changes. Your home, your job, the way your friends interact with you. You now have to say, oh, I used to be married, right? Like everything changes. And sometimes
So now notice the assumption is that the husband is the one leaving the wife. Now, statistically, we know 80% of the time, who divorces who? The wife divorces the husband. And yeah, this is the advice. Oh, hey, well, if you divorce your wife, well, everything's going to change. Why isn't it? Hey, listen, women, I know 80% of the time, 8 times out of 10, it's going to be you. Hey, don't do that because everything will change, blah, blah, blah. Right? Because he has a female audience and he is pining to his female audience.
You're in an abusive situation or somebody's cheating on you all the time. I mean, of course, there's reasons, but I always want you.
No, he's got to throw that out there. Well, wait a minute. I mean, of course, if you're in an abusive situation or somebody's cheating you on the time, blah, blah. Okay, well, who would be more likely probably to be in an abusive situation? That'd probably be a woman, you know. So, wait a minute. Let me throw out the caveat that, you can divorce it if you're in an abusive situation, blah, blah, blah. Come on, dude. Yeah. Now this is so bad that even Lila when he says this, you can watch. I'll put a link to the show. Even when he says this, Lila says, "Well, let's be clear. It's the women that leave the men way more often." So she has to correct him. But I think in his mind, he's like, "Ooh, well, my audience is women, so I don't want to offend the women in my audience here, right?" Man. Anyway. Well, then he talks about who loses the most in a divorce. Who loses the most in a divorce?
There is a terrifying economic consequence to women who leave their husbands, especially outside of a top earning potential, right? The data tells me that when women leave, their net worth goes down, especially when they have kids, and men's actually goes up a little bit. So it's not as easy.
Well, yeah, duh. All right, we got to unpack that. So again, he's pining to the women in the audience. Well, your net worth is going to go down. Women would not divorce and initiate divorce 80% of the time if they weren't rewarded with cash and prizes for doing so. Okay. They wouldn't do it if they were rewarded for doing it, Jonny D. And you know this. You know this. You're not that dumb. You're not that dumb not to know this. Okay. When you say, oh, their net worth goes down. Yeah, eventually it goes down because they don't have their husband there to siphon off funds from anymore. I mean, alimony is only going to pay for what's that? I mean, I personally know good men who who are extorted alimony from their wife. I know one friend, his wife, stay-at-home mom, she decided, hey, not happy, not feeling the tingles anymore for you, runs off with somebody else. He had to pay her $3,700 a month in alimony because she was a stay-at-home mom. She's got no skills, the court says, right? So she needs to stay at home, blah, blah. Or she needs to go and get new skills. Maybe she needs to go to college. She needs to blah, blah, blah. So he's got 7 years to pay her this amount of money. I think he said over the 7 years, it'd be like $400,000. So that she can go get new skills, get job experience, and then get on her feet, blah, blah, blah. Right? I think they're about 5 or 6 years in. Do you think she went to college? No. She just sat around the house, did nothing, went shopping. What? Of course her net worth's going to go down, especially when that money dries up. Like, what? I have one friend got divorced and he had to pay alimony. And he said it was actually way cheaper for him to pay alimony because his wife spent so much money that he couldn't control her spending. He said, at least with alimony, I know that I have to give a set amount and that's it. He said, when I was married, my wife would just swipe the card. And he said he couldn't get her to stop. And so, yeah, of course your net worth's going to go down if you don't work very hard. If you don't want to work like a man, work 50, 60 hours a week, like a lot of guys do. If you don't want to do that, well, yeah, your net worth is going to go down. If you don't have a cash cow there that you're financially tied to, then yeah, your net worth is going to go down. These are just simple things. Like, yeah, maybe you should think about that. Yeah, maybe you should. Maybe you should. Come on, dude. But yes, women are rewarded with cash and prizes for divorcing their husband, with alimony, with child support, with all of these things. And that's not going to change anytime soon. It's just not. So then he goes into why his show is so popular.
I thought when I still launched the John Delony show, I thought that people were coming to the show because it took off so fast because I was so smart. They weren't. They came to the show really fast because of how I talked to other people. That's what they had never seen. They'd never seen somebody sit down across the table from someone who said, hey, I just cheated on my husband. I don't know what to do next. And me not yell and kick and scream and me say, dude, pass the nachos. We got to figure this out. And still say you can't cheat if you want to stay married.
Oh, they've never seen that. Really? Really? Well, okay. Well, if a man calls in, that you certainly do almost yell and scream at a man calling in and saying, hey, I just cheated, blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't think most men call in and say I just cheated or whatever, but if they're thinking about it or whatever. No, it's the women. If the women call in, oh, well, I understand, baby. Well, you must be in an abusive situation, blah, 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 blah. Get out of here, man. People have never seen a show where the men just kowtow to the women. That's every show on TV. What are you talking about? You just pine to the women on your show. Get out of here. Let's go on.
If the movie was he opens his eyes and he looks over at his sleeping wife and says, I choose to love you today. And he gets up and makes his side of the bed. And then he gets up and picks up the wet towels that she left on the floor. And he gets up and starts making breakfast. And like if that would be a boring movie. It would, but that's what love looks like over the long haul.
So he's talking about the movie The Notebook and how, I didn't think it was that great of a movie because this is not what love looks like. What does love look like? Love looks like the husband getting up early, making his wife breakfast, Blah, 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 blah. That's what real love looks like. Yeah. Is that what real love looks like? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys who do all those kinds of things. They do the dishes, they do the laundry, they do all these kinds of things, blah, blah, blah. And their wife still doesn't have romantic feelings for them. Do they do all the chores that they're supposed to do? They do all the chore play, it's not foreplay, it's chore play. They do all that stuff and there's no tingles there anymore. That's not what it is. And I think he knows that. I think he knows that androgyny is not the answer. That we just do things equal here. Really, shouldn't a woman be cooking for her man that she loves though? Like, why would a man be cooking for his woman? What shouldn't the woman be cooking for the man that she loves? It just seems like just more role reversal. And I'm sure his female audience loves to hear this stuff, even though it's destructive to their marriage. This is not building a good marriage. Get out of here. Give me a comment. We got to get it corrected. This guy's got to go. This guy's got to go. I will fight him anytime, anywhere. I will fly to any city to fight him. Whatever style he wants, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, whatever he wants, I'll fight him in it. Love to. Him and his little tattoos he's got on his arms too. We got to get it corrected anyway. Christ is winning. He is building his church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. Until next time, this is the Post Millennial Man.